This is your video lesson for the iXLs on factoring sum and difference of cubes and on some expanding polynomial topics. So you want to be careful with this because one of your units is in J, which is down here near the very, very bottom. So J.6 is one of them. The other ones are in L, which are at the very top of this middle column here. So you want to make sure that you do complete all 4 of the units that are assigned. So we're going to look at sum and difference of cubes first. And this is something where you really need to have the formulas in front of you. You can get the formulas from the first video from the 3-3 notes, and we also had a worksheet on this as well. So a lot of this is just going to ask you to complete factorization. So we have 2 cubed minus u cubed. You want to take the cube root of each of those terms. So the cube root of t cubed is t, and the cube root of u cubed is u. And you use whatever sign you have in between. So the first set of parentheses is going to be t minus u. The second set of parentheses is built from the first set. You always square the first term, that goes first. Multiply the 2 terms together, ignoring the sign, that goes in the middle. And then the last term in the second set of parentheses is squaring the last term. If there's a number there, you'd have to square that as well. Take note of the signs. This is a difference of cubes because we're subtracting 2 perfect cubes. So the first set of parentheses has the minus, and then the second set has 2 pluses. If this had been a sum of cubes, there would be a plus in the first set of parentheses, and the first sign in the second set would be a minus. And again, those formulas are in your notes for 3-3, so you want to make sure you copy those down. This one is very similar. This, again, is that sum. So we take the cube root of both. So that's going to be c plus d. And then it goes on. Notice this one does throw in some numbers. So the cube root of my first term is still going to be an r. I'm still going to have a minus because that matches. But now I have to take the cube root of the 125 as well as the s cubed. The cube root of 125 is 5, and the cube root of s cubed is s. So this is going to be r minus 5s. And that's basically all you have to do here. If we jump some levels, you can see this is asking you to do the second set of parentheses. So again, this should have 3 terms in it. Our first term is going to be this first term here squared. So that's going to be q to the second power. It is going to be a plus because, again, I've already used the minus. There can only be 1 subtraction sign in all of your factorization, and if it doesn't come first, it comes second. But it did come first in this one, so everything else is going to be a plus. So now I multiply the 6 and the q together, so that's going to be 6q, again, another plus sign, and then I square the 6, which will be 36. 6 times 6 is 36. And that's pretty much all there is with this one. Notice here they did factor the 3 out. So you would have to write what you have when you divide both of these terms by 3 in order to fill that in. So if we go back to the Algebra 2 section, the other 3 that are on this one are L.17, 18, and 19. So it's going to put us down here. And again, these aren't starred yet because I'm making this a little bit in advance. So Pascal's triangle, which is L.17, this is a triangle where every number is found by adding the 2 numbers diagonally above it. So like this 6 here is because I added the 2 3s together. The 4, I add the 3 and the 1. So if I want to see what's in this missing box, I add the 2 numbers diagonally above that. So that's going to be a 2. This one, the 2 numbers diagonally above, it's going to be a 3. Let's see if we jump some here, if it gets a little more difficult. Notice this one has me filling in 2 numbers, so that one is a 3. And then I add my 2 numbers diagonally above, and that's going to be a 6. And I don't think this one really gets much more difficult than that. So that is L.17. L.18 is going to be using Pascal's triangle with the binomial theorem. So that's where you are expanding using those coefficients. So notice this is r plus s to the second power. So you're using the second row of the Pythagorean theorem, or I'm sorry, of Pascal's triangle. So if we come down here, it might be a good idea to copy down this Pascal's triangle so you can reference it. Row 0 is the top row. So I want the second row. That's going to be this 1, 2, 1. That means that my coefficients in that second row in my solution are going to be 1, 2, and 1. So if I close this back and go back to my question, because this is to the second power, so there's going to be a 2 in front of that, because again, it's a 1, 2, 1 for that second row. This one is the fourth row. So the fourth row of the Pythagorean theorem is 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. So there's 1, 4, this one has to be a 6, and then a 4, and then a 1. Notice also how our coefficients go. So this first coefficient starts at 4 and then goes down to 3 and then down to 2 and then down to 1 and nothing. Whereas the second term, the R, starts at nothing and then goes up to 1 and then to 2 and then to 3 and then 4. And that's pretty much all you have to do for that one. The last one we're going to look at is number 19, which is using the binomial theorem. And we had a worksheet on this last week. So you do want to go back and reference the notes from the second video from 3-3 for this one. This is asking you, it's again asking you to expand, and you're filling in some things. Your exponents, the x exponents, start at the highest number, which is 3 here, and go down. So that is going to be x to the third. And then as you move along, it's going to ask you a few other questions about how that goes. So notice this one, this is v plus w to the fourth power. So if I'm filling this in, I have a 6v squared w. Well, w was just coming off of a 1. The w's are getting bigger, so that's going to go up to a 2 because that's the one that's missing in sequence. And this one, again, asking you to complete it. R has to end at the exponent that I have with my binomial, so that's going to be a 5. And that's pretty much all there is to complete here. This one, you're using the 7th row of Pascal's triangle, so you would want to expand that until you get to the 7th row, and then you could write down what you got and what the coefficient would be for that solution. So I hope this was helpful to complete these iXLs on factoring and expanding binomials. Go back through, rewatch anything you're not sure of, and also make sure you're going back to the 3-3 notes because those are going to be very helpful for completing this as well.